9:07. And let me start by thanking WCTV for covering the meeting today of the Wareham Redevelopment Authority. It's Thursday, June 13th. And next on my agenda is I'd like to congratulate Sarah Corbett for not only your election last month, but also your appointment to the WRA. Thank you very much. We appreciate your service on the Redevelopment Authority.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we probably ought to do a roll call. Ken?
Ms. Corbett, Ms. Whiteside, Mr. Butler, and Mr. Buckland, all present. Absent is Mr. Derek Sullivan.
Okay.
Could you please declare that there's a quorum?
There's a quorum.
Thank you, Ken. I did receive a communication from Mr. Bessie yesterday that he was regretfully resigning from the WRA. The regular traditional meeting time of the WRA unfortunately did not comport well with his work schedule, and I want to thank him publicly for the service that he provided to the WRA during the time that he was assigned here. And I personally look forward to continuing to work with Ron as the WRA brings items before the Select Board. Now, sad as that is, the good news is we now have Sarah on board. And Sarah, thank you to your husband for the long service from the Corbett family. And thank you for continuing that service. And we look forward to making a lot of good things happen while you're on board. Thank you.
I look forward to it.
And resident comments. I see no residents. There's nothing to report today. Authority business. Ken, anything new on
Yes, there is.
Halverson study?
Yes, there is. This is the coastal facility study where we had gotten money from the Seaport Council, Seaport Advisory Council, and 125,000, and we put 25,000 in, 150 for a study of the feasibility of putting in kayak launch, coastal pathway, and a pier on the other side of the railroad tracks downtown as an attraction for the location, and to facilitate the many people that come and use the waterfront there to go fishing and enjoy the waterfront. But one of the things we need is a crossing of the railroad tracks to make that work, and we need the easement from the state to allow that to happen. And our latest conversation with the DOT has been that they're looking for us to come up with the design of the crossing. And
They want us, WRA, the town?
Halverson,
Halverson, okay.
our consultant, to come up with the design of the crossing and present that to the state. What we're due for right now is a focus group meeting. I think it'd be appropriate to schedule a focus group meeting so that we can have the design discussed before it gets presented to the state, and highlight what others have done for railroad crossings, pedestrian crossings, and
We're talking about one or more than one?
the state has limited us to one,
Okay.
unless there's a good reason that we're going to have to stick with one crossing.
Okay, thank you.
They're kind of expensive. They can go up to 800,000 for the crossing to have all the equipment put in.
How expensive are they?
800,000.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, well, it's specialty equipment that they use for.
Are we talking about a crossing at grade level, or are we talking about one of those ones that you see like at the MBTA where you go up and over and then down? Because that's in crazy.
A grade level crossing.
Okay.
Yeah, the up and over isn't as attractive. It isn't used as much, and it would be a problem with trying to make this an attractive access point.
And accessible.
Right, and accessible as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have about a mile-long ramp on that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where I had a conversation with the consultant. They are proceeding with looking at other crossings, and they'd like to keep the fence as low as possible. So it's just a barrier and not an absolute stop. This may be difficult to get through to the state, because since they've had 2 deaths on the tracks in the time that I've been here, it's a rather sensitive issue to them as to the crossing and what liability there would be in allowing people to jump the fence if they were to cross.
Well, one of them they fixed by putting the fencing up and the signs. That was whether he was impaired or whether he chose to dispose of himself.
Right.
And then the other one, they were impaired
Yeah.
and on the tracks, and
right.
it was the middle of the night, and they were,
Right.
you know, it's a sad story, but they were impaired, and it had, you know, could have been in the marshes of Cape Cod as opposed,
Right,
you know,
right,
could have been any
exactly.
place.
Exactly.
And I think you could conceivably make the argument that having a legitimate, well-built,
Good.
you know, obvious crossing would make it less likely people would cross at more dangerous points if you have a clear access to the
Right.
water.
Right.
And the other argument you might use is that fishing pier on the Narrows restaurant side, those are all state fishing piers.
Right.
So we've already provided safe and appropriate access to the public for the flushing, because that's why they fish from there, is because of the funneling of the,
Yeah, right.
Remember the car going off there?
So Ken, Halverson was able to get that meeting then with Mass DOT?
No, we haven't had the meeting yet with Mass DOT. We just had conversations over email with them.
Okay,
And they're looking for us to do the design before they proceed with they want to critique our design
great.
rather than give us parameters that,
Actually, that's good for us, I would think.
that's good in some way, and it allows us more flexibility, but it puts us at a risk in that we go into a design that they oppose for whatever reason that wasn't known before.
I think it's back asswards. I really do.
Well, is it a one-shot deal? Like, we design it, they don't like it, we're done? Or
No.
we design it, they don't like it, and we adjust?
Exactly.
Yeah, but we have to pay our consultant again.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know,
Well, I think the consultant can give us option A, option B, option C.
We have a lump sum contract with them, so they have to do the work regardless of the
And
outcome.
another aspect of this too is not just the crossing itself, but as I think Alan Slavin mentioned at one of our meetings, the state also wants the town to build a fence all along the railroad tracks there.
Yeah, the state said that they would put in the crossing if we built the fence all the way across. They put in half the fence now anyway because of the response to the last accident.
Right. And I think up in the air was, by fence, do they mean fence on one side of the tracks or fence on 2 sides of the tracks?
I asked them that question and they said, no, fence only on one side.
One side?
Yeah, the landward side.
Then I would think another good reason for us being, or Halverson being in the lead in terms of identifying the preferred solution is, we can also define what we think a fence is.
Right,
Or a
that's
barrier.
important.
It doesn't have to be an ugly chain link fence, it could be bollards and chains, and it could be something attractive, it could be a short, wall a foot high with bollards and chains, something to keep the impaired people from accidentally stumbling into the tracks, or children going into the tracks, and at least steering people towards the designated crossing. So I like the idea of Halverson telling us, the steering group or the focus group, here's what we think works best for this location, and then letting the public talk about it, think about it, react to it, and if we find we like it, try to sell it to Mass DOT.
Well, wouldn't the process be, and I'm new, obviously, so correct me if I'm wrong, the focus group meets with the consultants and we give them input first, and then they design or give us options, and then it comes back to the focus group?
Well, unfortunately, we can't, we can't have this done by committee because of the lack of information they have and the design aspects of the crossing. It has to be something that is done by the professionals, the engineers and landscape architects.
So they would come to the focus group with a finished concept?
I'm not,
Proposed.
I think what they do is they come up with examples of what other towns have done for grade level crossings. Talk about what the state has told us in the meantime, and the indication they've given us about the height of the fence and the length of the fence.
Okay.
And have them design something that gets maybe more than one concept, actually, that people can respond to.
Yeah, they've already had one focus group, Sarah, where they invited in about 27, I think it was, different business owners from Main Street in Wareham Village. Some local residents that had previously expressed an interest in the development down there, or redevelopment. And they had a pretty decent turnout, I think, for that first meeting. They had about 13 or 14 people show up for the walkthrough with Halverson. And then they went from there to a meeting over at the multi-service center and still had about, I don't know, kind of 8 people there for that second one.
Yeah, was there some people online as well too?
Yeah, and they did a good job of eliciting ideas from the public. The public wasn't shy.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good, I sat through it, I thought it was a pretty good session. And I thought it was productive, and I thought Sean Reagan did a good job managing that process. So if they're thinking of another one coming up soon, that sounds like a good idea to me, and I think we ought to publicize it the best we can to get more than just the focus group.
But they
To
have to
show
have a concept first, don't they? Or don't they? Yeah, they have to have a concept first.
They
Halverson
should have something for us
has to
to
have,
chew on.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a response to the
Right.
design.
Yeah, okay. So what time frame are we talking about?
I think we can do this by the end of the month, if it's interest to the authority here.
Oh, yeah, I think so. In fact, they're a little bit behind their schedule on their timetable that they showed us, the project timetable.
Right.
So I think the sooner the better.
So did we get copies of that the timeline?
We did, and they're posted on the WRA's
There was a
website.
proposal.
Okay.
They're behind because of the state changing the rules of the game as they went along.
So what's new?
Ken, that's a good update. That's encouraging, because I was concerned that if they didn't get that actual meeting with Mass DOT, they were gonna be, stuck in the mud, unable to proceed. But I know they've been doing some other work in the background, the hydrodynamic topographic
Bathymetry.
study.
The bathymetry.
The bathymetry. Do you have any sense of when they might want to hold this, or are you just going to tell them we want to charge ahead and the sooner the better?
Yeah, and see what they come up with as to possible dates.
Okay.
We won't do it July 4th or whatever, so other than that.
I'd like to get your reaction to the idea of not just allowing Halverson to put the word out to those 27 organizations that we alerted them to that have a business interest in that area, but what do you think about putting it in the paper, advertising, talking to Liam Mayo about getting an article, Wareham Week? What do you think, Judith?
I really would like to see it on that little bulletin board downtown that has
Oh, yeah,
opportunity
right.
in front of El Mariachi,
Yeah.
or in front of Pizzoli Square. I think you put it there because to me, we should be using that as a wayfinding sign or whatever we call them.
Right.
The paper, I think, is worthwhile only if you talk with Liam and he gets it into his Wareham Week 2-minute program on WCTV. I think that probably gets more view than the paper, but maybe it doesn't.
Does it really? Okay, good.
Wow.
I could do that,
But there's nothing to say that he couldn't do both.
right.
I mean, if you talk with Liam, then you get him to do an article, but then he can also put it in his 2-minute, what, upcoming things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it can go into what's coming up. They have that in the newspaper as well, what's coming up the week.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's happening.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Ken, if you can get us if you can get us a date that Halverson thinks they can do this, and would they be doing this in person, would it be hybrid, Zoom?
I think it'd be hybrid.
Hybrid, okay.
That seems to be the most successful in getting the biggest turnout.
If you can get a date and time that they're thinking would work for them, then we can get it publicized.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay, any other questions for Ken on the Wareham Village Coastal Pathway Fishing Pier and Kayak Launch Design Planning? Okay, no? All right, moving on to report from the Director of Planning. Mr. Buckler.
I had a call come in on looking for some industrial space from a business. And I've been going on the basis of what I have available at the time. I don't have anything formal to actually present to people that query about locations in town. And I think this is something that I just have to put together. Because every once in a while I get these calls or maybe from somebody local interested in expanding and wondering what we have available for space. And what I do is I usually turn them over to some of the local brokers, the commercial brokers, and have them follow through. It might be nicer though to have something we can advance the town as well too. Some marketing information about the town.
It's a great idea. Have also include in a running inventory.
That would be expensive to do.
Really? To keep a list of available properties would be expensive?
If it was done properly, yeah, I think so. Because I'd want to go to something like one of the real estate services that provides vacant space listings.
Ken, when you're talking about available space, you're not talking just town-owned property, you're talking commercial buildings owned by private parties, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. That's where some of the space is available.
And those commercial real estate agents, they don't make that their business to kind of keep their finger on the pulse of all those?
They do, and that's why I turned them over to those people to advance the town. But they have their interests elsewhere as well too. And that they're looking at properties in the region and not necessarily just in Wareham. And I'm thinking we, as the authority, we should be promoting Wareham.
Right.
I agree.
Well, this comes back to that website called whatever it is, the one that
Discover
you're the
Discover
only
Wareham.
one. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
the only one that has.
The credit card on it, yeah.
Yeah. I still think that's an underused. You tried to get that
I mentioned it
and got no.
about 3 months, I think it's now 3 months ago to the WCTV Board of Directors, but I haven't been able to, I didn't make the last board meeting, so I wasn't able to bring it up again, but I have it in my notes to raise it again.
I mean, we have a vehicle.
We do. We also have an internship. We could assign an intern to maintain that for us if we wanted to, but we don't have any interns yet. But that is a great vehicle. That's a nice site.
It's there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel.
right.
Yeah, the pitch I made to the WCTV board was, is this something that you'd be interested in taking over for the town, you know, for a nominal charge, or as part of their regular duties in support of the town as Wareham Media? And just didn't get a real exciting reaction to that, and I'm not sure if it's because I just threw it out there the first time and that was it. But I think if I do bring it up again, there might be some interest in that. And there's an ice cream social coming up in another
Yeah,
week
on
or
the
so.
21st,
23rd?
21st.
21st.
Mhm.
Sarah and I are going to the ice cream social on the 21st
Yes,
To
Hope
get
they have a
our
lot of
free-
ice cream.
to get our free ice cream.
yeah, you give me ice cream, I'll be there.
And I don't know, were you planning on going to that too, Judith? Did you know about it?
Yes, I know about it. I haven't made up my mind.
I don't understand the benefit to WCTV for maintaining that website. Like, I don't understand how it connects to their business.
They would have to decide if it connects with their business. I think it would, because it's media. It's promoting Wareham. It's virtual media, which is one of the things that Wareham Media, WCTV, is working to get into more and more.
Mhm.
So you're seeing more and more of their programming, not on Comcast, but you're seeing it on YouTube
Yeah.
and Facebook. And that's
Mhm.
how a lot more people are accessing their programming.
Hmm.
And I think having a Discover Wareham website that they manage for the town,
And they could
Well,
populate
for
it with
the
their
WRA.
programming.
they could do that. Yeah, they could actually use it and exploit it.
I mean, it has to have some benefit to them. To me, that would be logical and a benefit if they had a window into what they offer as part of it.
I think that would be part of the pitch
Yeah.
that we would make to them
Mm-hmm.
to consider taking it over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you understand that when you mess around with WCTV, the contract is with the select board.
Right.
And it's coming up for review in another 2 years. The Comcast contract with the town is coming up and under negotiation now. And it will expire in May of 25 or something like that. But the contract really calls for the TV station or WCTV to cover all of our boards and committees. That there's Group A, those are all live and recorded. Then there's Group B, which is taped and played at their convenience. There's Group C, which is when there's something really exciting going on at one of it's a small number of boards and committees, then we would invite WCTV to film it. And Group D is a group that probably never gets filmed, not because they're not important, but because,
There'd be
That
so
was-
many- so much bandwidth.
well, that was the way that we structured it with WCTV. I would say that WCTV has been more than cooperative in terms of the select board having to move a couple of ones from Group B to Group A because, they're working diligently with the town to get this room upgraded and 520 upgraded with new equipment. Sarah's question is the right question. What benefit to WCTV does it have when they're in the midst of really regrowing and rebranding themselves?
Mhm.
Because they took a hit from a couple, they're on their recovery road.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and,
But there's no room for it in the contract, is what I'm telling you.
right, and as I understand it, WCTV, although they provide the preponderance of their service to the town of Wareham, they're open to providing services to other organizations that want to pay for it. Like Mass Maritime Academy, for example. I happen to notice that they've begun broadcasting lacrosse games for Mass Maritime Academy. They're not doing that for the town or with town money, they're doing that because they have some other arrangement with that institution. The Redevelopment Authority as a body politic, we could contract with them if we wanted to. We could say, hey, would you do X, Y, and Z
You can,
for us?
but outside contracts that impinge on their available time and resources in terms of personnel.
Mhm.
They don't have to get our permission, but we have a working arrangement where they're gonna say, you know, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, no, we can't, understanding that they have limited bandwidth, capacity, staff, time, they would have to make the decision as to whether or not this would be a good thing for them. And if we thought it was a good thing for the town, we the WRA, then we could, again, bring it to their attention, maybe over an ice cream, talk about it a little bit with the board, with the board, the CEO of the WCTV. But you brought it up, Judith, you brought up that website. I think it is a great vehicle for promoting Wareham, and it could accomplish potentially what you're talking about, Ken,
Yeah,
getting the word out there to.
but it does, it doesn't
investors.
provide the locations, the actual properties, but it does give an overview of the town that's great,
That'd be as simple as a hyperlink
yeah.
to
To
whatever you
what?
and your vast staff put together on one page.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes to the first thing I brought up, that if we could get a running inventory of available properties, but you say that would be expensive. And I'm new to the workings of this world, so how would that be expensive? It's not something that already exists, right? It's in the hands of real estate brokers, is that it?
Well, it's in the hand of real estate brokers. There's also things like loop.net that are available to the public if you pay for it.
Oh, loop.net, what is that?
It's a real estate website.
Like Zillow?
Yeah, like Zillow for commercial properties.
Oh. And it lists all available commercial properties in a town?
In a region, in a town, yeah.
Huh. How much does it cost?
I'm not sure at this point. I haven't checked recently.
Is that something we could look into? I mean, it seems like that would be a good thing, knowledge base to have for this committee.
I don't think that's our business. I think private industry can sell their own real estate. I think we have to concentrate on the properties that we have an interest in, because we have several properties that we have an interest in. We're getting income from those properties. And when we stumble across something like Littleton Drive, that's a yippee, hooray, but I don't think I think we're in the business of redevelopment, but I don't think we're in the business of doing a realtor's job
That
for
makes
him or her.
sense. What about a list of town-owned properties, though, that,
I don't, again, I think, okay, town-owned properties are under the aegis of Derek Sullivan, and Derek Sullivan has to make a decision as to whether he would choose to dispose of a property or not. We have nothing to do with it.
Unless it gets turned over to us, as
Right.
Littleton Drive
As
did.
Littleton did, but other than that, we don't have anything, other than the ones that we have tenanted right now.
okay. Clearly, I'm on a learning curve, so,
That's okay.
okay.
Well, I think actually we're hitting on something that could work. Ken's pointed out that there are potential developers, investors out there that find Wareham somehow. And we're not actively promoting Wareham and making it easy to find Wareham or easy to direct them to, maybe with a hyperlink, the commercial real estate
The QR
brokers
code.
here in Wareham that are active in Wareham, that probably have loop.net or whatever else lists all these properties and could take an active interest in engaging personally with a potential developer, right? Something as simple as a little hyperlink like that on Discover Wareham could accomplish an awful lot of what you just brought up.
The
in terms of
hyperlink to
trying to promote
what,
the town.
though? What would the link lead to?
Maybe a listing of, broker A, B, C, and D, and here's their hyperlink. And you let any broker that wants to be listed there, that wants to promote Wareham, put their shingle out there on our website.
Yeah, and they can pay us for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They can pay us big bucks for that, because we're doing their job, we're advertising
Actually,
for
I hadn't
them.
even thought of that, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's another possibility.
Yeah, nice.
Can we get a commission if they sell a big piece of property? Finder's fee?
I'm gonna caution you, and I'm gonna caution you on behalf of the people who are really head shy about solar development right now. Because,
Okay,
because large tracts of land in Wareham are cheap, and we are targeted by solar developers because they can get away with it. I think that we would be hung, drawn, quartered, shot, and gutted if we encouraged development until we get we being the town, get some way of protecting the town itself and the aquifer underneath it from development that we're not sure we understand. It's just my,
that's a good point.
I mean, right now, the planning board is dealing with 3, 4, 5, 3. And they're big. And the extent of solar battery storage is not understood. The state has said, oh, let's do this. Another one of those unfunded mandates. And the places in the Commonwealth that have cheap real estate, and we do, are targeted. Is that what we want for the town? And I think the planning board, in its wisdom, is trying to figure out how to balance development as well as protecting the natural resources. You ruin that aquifer and we can all move to Alaska because you will not be drinking the water and everything will die.
I guess I was thinking more in the terms of commercial buildings, but you're right, that is part of the package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't one advantage of having a website like Discover Wareham that we manage and curate allow us to tailor what goes out there to be promoted? In other
Manpower.
words, right now, anybody can go find Wareham, and Wareham's cheap.
Mm.
There's lots of land. We're not steering that interest in ways that we might feel are advantageous to Wareham, like you just said. Rather than a racetrack or a casino or Walt Disney World, maybe we want something else, I don't know.
You forgot the house of ill repute.
Houses of ill repute?
Go along with
Is
the
that
racetrack and
next?
the casino.
But I think it kind of goes back to what Ken, I think, brought up. We're not actively trying to manage the promotion of Wareham in a way that is beneficial to Wareham. We're letting it happen. We're just letting ideas come in the front door at Ken's office.
I disagree. I think that Ken has tentacles with many, many people and associations that he uses all of the time. That's why he gets the phone calls. That's why he gets these inquiries, is because he's so well known. I'm gonna be a little chicken on this one. I think advertising the town is great, and I think unrestrained growth to the detriment of the town is not. So I think we have to really think about
I
it.
don't
Then
think
you
anybody-
also have the manpower issue.
Yeah.
Who's gonna run it?
Right.
Because,
Yeah, you'd have to have somebody that would spend at least an hour a week updating it.
well, you'd be an hour a day.
Yeah, it was daily.
Could be
It's
that.
a daily, because the real
Right now
estate
it's not
market
even
right
an
now
hour.
is changing so quickly every day that,
Right now, it's not even an hour a year.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, I think we have to think about what it is that we want that vehicle to accomplish before we figure out where it sits and who manages
Why don't
it.
I come up with a work plan?
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, you need to have a vision for that
Yeah,
before, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And we are just one little piece of the overall strategy for development and economic health of the town of Wareham. There are other bodies that have a lot of responsibility for that. You brought up the planning board, the town administrator. Really, our
sewer
lane in
commission.
the road is redevelopment.
That's,
It's to take the dumpy building and make it
that
go
is
away.
huge. The sewer issue is the biggest detriment to any development right now.
Mhm.
And it will continue to be because a third of this town will be underwater in 50 years. We will be. You mark my words. I won't be around to see it.
Hopefully not my third. All right, so I think this has actually been a pretty productive discussion. Ken, thank you. And you, as usual, gave yourself a job to do. Produce some sort of a vision or work plan for Discover Wareham, the website, how we, the Redevelopment Authority, might want to position that vehicle to promote good redevelopment or economic development within the town of Wareham, or direct it towards those parts of town where we would like to see the businesses prosper.
I have a question. What input does the WRA give to the master plan?
We haven't done any, nothing as far as.
Well, we haven't had an update on the master plan in a couple of years now.
It's supposed to be
Is
every
it one-
5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think is one in draft right now?
There's one in draft right now, right?
No, there's not.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask that you send a link to all of the members to the master plan, the current master plan. Because part of what we're talking about actually impacts the master plan or may be driven by the master plan. I'm not sure which one.
Right.
Yeah, the master plan does include items, a strategy and goals and objectives, and then it actually in a few places says the WRA will, the WRA will,
Right.
and it
We
has,
had our input to it.
right, we had,
Yeah.
so the 2020
something.
plan, we did have some input to, apparently. That was before my time. It looked to me like it was pretty well thought out, actually. It looked like a pretty good master plan.
I will make the same comment that I have made many times. In a population of 22,000 or 24,000, when you have 120 people answering for the information, that is not statistically important, and it is not representative of the town. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a problem that you have with outreach anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is the continuing problem.
Yeah.
WRA should be part of the vehicle of information. Focus groups. But if you invited 27 and you ended up with 13 or 8 or whatever the number was, what is happening?
Well, I think we're not unique in
No,
Wareham.
I'm not saying that we are, but I'm saying that,
Every town has that same situation. You have very interested citizenry, and then you have disinterested citizenry.
so a prior chair of the planning board wanted to get planning, zoning, WRA, blah, 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 together and have sort of
Roundtable discussion.
roundtable discussions, and I don't think that ever happened, but
No, it didn't,
why doesn't it? Why,
because the boards don't cooperate that well.
yeah, but why not?
They have different schedules.
Yeah, but what is the point of each board? It is to serve the town.
What would be the purpose of that meeting?
To get a consensus on the direction of the town, the vision for the town.
Yeah,
Isn't that what a master plan is supposed to achieve?
Yeah, it is.
Bring those people together to kind of cobble together the,
Yeah, and that's what Richard Swenson laid out as a plan of participation, was getting together all the different groups and going around and pooling ideas. So there could be something that looked like one vision for the community.
it seems to me that we should be proactive. If the master plan's dated 2020, guess what? There's a new one due.
Yeah.
Let's be proactive, because open space is gonna contribute. Concom may be contributing, I mean, there are bodies that are gonna be contributing to an update. Who's working on the update?
Well, the Pine Board should be the one working on the update. And their chairmanship is changing by the end of the month. So there may be a new call to update the master plan at that time. I can remind them of that as well.
So when that time comes, it's not ours to drive, it sounds like it's the planning board's.
Well, we could offer our good offices to,
Right.
Why can't we hold hands?
Oh, I think we should. I think if the planning board, at the appropriate time, after they change leadership and reconstitute, if they, on their list of important things to do, say it's time to update the master plan for Wareham to make it a 2025 master plan, then yeah, we should offer to be and ask to be part of that process.
and we should encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, if it was dated 2020, it started in 2017. You don't create a 130-page document or whatever it is overnight. Just doesn't happen.
Well, if I remember, they had a contractor that did an awful lot of the work. Is that right, Ken?
Well, we had Serped do the original master
Serped,
plan.
that's what it was, Serped, right.
They got it done in 2018, I think. And then it wasn't formally adopted though, so the planning board took it on to come up with a different process for coming to consensus and,
So guess what? We have 20 hours from the select board and we have 20 hours from the planning board.
right.
What's wrong with the picture of not using those 40 hours to start work on an update of the master plan?
Those 40 hours haven't been used for anything else?
Oh, no, I mean, there are two one-stop grant programs out there. One of them is to use money that was gonna use the 40 hours,
Yeah,
right?
right,
Was that for the bylaw review?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
For the planning board update, for the zoning bylaw
Zoning
update.
bylaw
Okay,
review.
okay.
$150,000 grant or something.
Well,
That went up
it
from
came- It came down to 89,000.
okay.
So that's the one we just voted on at the last meeting? Right,
Yeah,
Yes.
you did.
We did, we wrote a letter of support.
okay. So that's
That's in the process.
done.
Originally, that started out as using the 20 hours from the Board of Selectmen, Select Board, and the 20 hours for planning that we get each year
From Serped.
from Serped. It was a freebie,
Oh,
okay, and it's much too big a job to be done in 40 hours, in my opinion.
mhm.
Right.
But now we have 40 hours, if you already have a document, it's outdated, obviously.
The master plan, the current
Yeah,
master plan.
the current master plan.
So are we talking instead of the zoning bylaw review, or
No,
this is a
The
different?
zoning- The zoning
Okay.
bylaw
Totally.
review won't happen until the end of the year.
Okay,
October or November is when they do the announcements.
mm,
And that leaves us in the meantime, when the chairmanship changes on the planning board, to see if they're interested in updating the master plan on a timely basis. And if so, use our services.
mhm.
So, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that you either have coffee with the putative new chair, Carl, and see whether he would be willing to sort of pick brains with you and Ken maybe, have a three-way conversation about how can WRA help the planning board create the vision for the town? Right?
Mhm.
Sounds good.
I mean, to me, it makes sense. You're so sensible and so persuasive.
Me?
Yeah,
Especially over coffee
yeah,
at the Bluefoot Cafe.
yeah.
More
Um,
business gets done at the Bluefoot.
So to me, that makes sense. I know that, I'm guessing that Mr. Schultz will be the new chair. And I think that he, first of all, he's a very astute record keeper. I mean, he makes you look like a piker. So, in terms of having a vision, I don't want any boards and committees to be going this way when the rest of us are doing this. It doesn't mean you can't disagree. Doesn't mean that you can't disagree with portions of the vision. But a master plan is supposed to be a master plan. And if you are not involving those who drive the development, then you're not creating a master plan, in my opinion.
Or at least one that will ever be looked at.
Yeah, I mean,
Used, yeah.
yeah,
That's unfortunately sometimes the fate of master plans.
yeah.
They're just put on a shelf and dusted off every 5 years.
So the other thing you need to send a link to Kathleen, please, a copy of the master plan link and the copy of the draft URP link to Kathleen, so I can get it on the agenda today. Because our hearing is Tuesday,
Oh, next Tuesday? Okay.
and a link rather than sending the,
Right, the whole thing, yeah.
yeah. And we'll just get that, we'll send that out to all of the members so they can read it
Right.
before the meeting. And then you're doing the presentation, or the two of you doing the presentation? Who's
I
doing
was
the
gonna talk to Ken about that. I thought it went well at the planning board, where I just sort of stood up there and gave a real high-level précis of what was in the urban renewal plan and why we needed the planning board to hold the public hearing. I think we could do the same thing with the select board. The issues that you'll be looking at will be broader, I would say, than what the planning board was concerned with. But we had Ken and we had Emily Innes in the bullpen, ready to jump in and answer the detailed questions and
So
provide some good
both of you
insight.
should be available, right?
Right.
Does Emily know about this?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll be able to attend though.
And
She's trying to rearrange her schedule to make it.
Okay, so, but you will be available?
Yeah.
if she can make it, it's great. But actually, Ken and I have
Yeah.
sort of absorbed, we've
Okay,
done a Martian mind meld with Emily over the last couple of years. I think we've absorbed a lot of,
yeah, I just
what
wanna
she
make
put
sure
into
that
the plan.
it's what I would call an effective presentation, not that, I don't want somebody to say, well, you know. How many people showed up at the planning board one?
showed up. I don't know who was in there, who virtually was paying attention to it, but we did have some people that virtually chimed in.
Contributed? How
had
many?
Questions. In the room itself, we probably had, I'm not sure why they were there. Some
It was
people
a
were there for
regular
other-
board meeting, so
They were there
Right.
for other things.
there were
but
other things that they were there
I
for.
thought they had a hearing, they scheduled a
they did.
hearing,
It was a public hearing. We
Yeah,
had,
they scheduled a hearing for the
yeah.
as I
URP
recall, we
as well
had
as the.
3 or 4 members of the public asked to comment
On the URP,
on the URP.
okay, so,
Oh, yeah, but they were already there for other reasons, like
They may
Angela
have-
Dunham.
Yeah, one of them was there definitely to represent a client on another matter, but she chose to jump up and,
okay, so
Endorse
I'm
the
just
plan.
trying to figure out, yeah. This is a hybrid meeting, you can be remote, but we're gonna be live in room 520,
Okay,
okay?
and I need to be remote because
You can be
I
remote.
have a conflicting
Mhm.
responsibility at that time, but I'll be there.
Mhm.
And I have 7 o'clock, is that right?
7:15,
7:15. Okay.
or maybe 7:30, I don't remember which one, I have 2 hearings, I can't remember which one is which.
Okay.
I think it's 7:15.
And, yeah, Ken does have that link. It's on our Wareham Redevelopment Authority webpage, the new and improved.
Right, but I wanna be able to put it on the agenda so that nobody complains that we didn't
We
give
hid
them the opportunity to
Can't
read
hide
the,
ball.
right,
Okay.
yeah,
Good idea.
thank you, Ken.
sure.
All right. Ken, what else do you have to report today?
I think that's probably enough.
You took up 30 minutes more than the 20 minutes that I allowed you. It's my own fault.
And I was negligent, I was remiss in not commenting on Ken's design sense and fashion sense. I'm sorry, Ken, I forgot it was Tropic Thursday.
That's right.
I'll come ready next time. Ken, thank you. Member comments, new initiatives. Ken, anything else?
No,
Ms. Whiteside,
Uh-uh.
Ms. Corbett.
I just have a comment. The Wareham Land Trust had a member appreciation night last night, and I'm a member. And I was appreciated, but really, I'm sorry, sometimes I can't help myself. What the point I wanted to make was that it was held at the train depot, which was very, very cool. And we were doing all this talking about the waterfront and everything there, and there was probably 20, 30 people. We had pizza, And Kathy and Nancy kept commenting how you were telling them to utilize the train depot,
Right,
and
right.
they finally did.
That's great.
And I think we should get the word out about that place. I had no idea that you could hold events at the train depot. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They have good bathrooms there, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
they have the furniture
Good
as well,
parking.
too.
yeah, they do. They had tables and chairs, and it was just a really nice location. It was a little noisy, but nobody cared. I mean, it was really fun.
Right, no train came by.
Pardon?
No train came by?
No, a train did come by, which was awesome. We were all excited. It didn't stop. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool, and that somehow I would love to make that more publicly known.
Yeah, definitely. We spent a bunch of state money on that and some of the town money as well, and fixing that place up. So it'd be nice to have it used more often.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's something down the line with the URP,
So,
that could be utilized. You could have
on the
music
sign downtown,
there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Why not
the
put it
sign.
there?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
it's right there.
Do what?
Put it on the sign downtown in Pizzoli Square.
Oh, that the train depot is available for rent?
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
And they were very appreciative of the nonprofit rate for events. It
What
was
it,
only
like a-
$15.
That's not bad.
We just decided that at our last meeting. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it was very affordable for them
$15 per day,
Per event,
per event. Yeah,
That's not bad.
so it's a day.
so it's a one-day license. Yeah,
What is it for a private business that wanted to use it?
50.
50 per day? That's not bad either.
that's for any place around town. It's not specifically for that venue, but
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
it's
Oh,
for the license.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Who do
It's
they
cheap.
contact? Ken,
Yeah,
if
it's
they wanna sign it up?
Town, you talk with Derek, right?
Right.
Derek.
Derek signs people up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
so that's my
Great comment.
Mm.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's see, I just want to remind folks that if you happen to hear about any ambitious, smart, civic-minded college students or graduate students, that we, the Wareham Redevelopment Authority, have approved an internship, a paid internship, $20 an hour for undergraduate students, $25 an hour for graduate students, working under Mr. Buckland. That's an invaluable experience in itself. And
Thank you.
we probably have some students here in town that would benefit from that, and it's a pretty lucrative little stipend. So
How many hours a week?
it can be up to 40 hours a week
Okay.
for 10 weeks. That's how much we added up all that money. I think it's a $20,000 commitment we agreed to. And we did it once. That intern, I think, did a pretty good job working in Ken's office. And Ken's very flexible. It doesn't have to be 10 weeks in the summer. It doesn't have to be 40 hours a week. It can be 20 hours a week. It can be summer and into the fall semester, that kind of thing. I think that's what you negotiated with our first intern.
That's
wasn't it,
right.
Ken?
That's right.
Where are you reaching out to local colleges and universities?
Yeah, trying to do the full listing of areas for opportunities. Just having trouble trying to find people to work in the business.
Overall?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's too bad. I think it's a fascinating business. But
Yeah, and it could be somebody that's studying urban planning or communications. We were just talking about a website. Could be finance, public administration, civil engineering. I think a lot of different majors would fit with what we do. But just put that out there again so that hopefully anybody watching in WCTV land that knows of somebody, you could direct them to Ken Buckland in the planning department here at Town Hall. Correspondence, Ken, do we have any correspondence?
we have a note from our insurance provider. We'll probably want to get you on that, to sign
Okay,
the policy.
okay. Can I get with you right after this meeting?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea.
And I understand there's a, maybe a refund check floating around that we need to find and,
Yeah, that probably needs a signature as well, too.
okay. I'll I'll stop by your office right after we're done here. Minutes, prior meeting minutes, May 23rd, 2024.
Whoever makes the motion, you need to make the motion with the noted corrections, because there are a couple of corrections. For instance, under IV, there's all capital letters and the word status is not spelled correctly. However, on the front page, and there's some,
So we can approve them with Scrivener corrections, or whatever you, is
Yep.
that the word you use?
Yep.
Okay, if you've had a chance to look at them, they are as usual, when prepared by Ms. Whiteside, both concise and thorough, which is hard to do. And I thought they were accurate when I reviewed them. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for the WRA meeting of Thursday, May 23rd, 2024?
So moved.
Ken, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And any discussion?
just the noted corrections.
As noted by Ms. Whiteside, we would be approving these minutes with noted requirements for some Scrivener corrections to the document, to the draft. If there are no other comments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved unanimously, 400. Judith, thank you. And Ken, I'll let you take care of the,
I'll get them to you so that you can sign them.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 The meeting is adjourned. Good job, Judith.